My wife falsely accused me of cheating, took the kids, and destroyed my life. Years later, when I became successful, she tried suing me for alimony, so I turned the tables and left her in shock. Hello, Reddit I+ here. I met Natalie when we were just 22, both fresh out of college and starry-eyed about the future. She was the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make it feel smaller, like all the air was drawn toward her. I fell hard, fast. Within a year, we were married, and by the time I was 26, we had 2 beautiful kids, Emma and Noah. Life wasn't glamorous. I worked long hours as an apprentice electrician, trying to get my license, while she stayed home with the kids. Money was tight. Arguments about bills, groceries, rent, they weren't rare. But I always thought we were a team. Then one night, everything changed. I came home after a 12-hour shift, covered in sweat and drywall dust, to find the house dark. No laughter. No tiny footsteps running to greet me. Natalie sat at the kitchen table, arms crossed, face like stone. "We need to talk," she said. Without warning, she accused me of cheating, said she knew I was sleeping with a coworker, some woman I barely even spoke to, beyond professional courtesies. She had proof, she said, text messages, which were nothing more than group texts about work. Rumors she heard from a friend of a friend. No real evidence, just smoke and assumptions. Before I could even blink, she told me she was leaving, taking the kids. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, court papers, and heartbreak. She filed for full custody, claiming I was unstable and untrustworthy. She told the court I was reckless, even hinted at substance abuse, which was laughable because I barely drank a beer a month. She used every trick in the book, even brought witnesses, her friends, who parroted lies about me. I lost everything. The house, my kids, my reputation. The only thing I kept was my job, and even that barely hung by a thread after all the court drama. For 2 years, I lived out of a tiny studio apartment, working double shifts, just to pay child support and legal fees. My employer moved me to a new division out of pity, giving me a second chance. I used it. I worked my ass off, while Natalie moved in with her new boyfriend, a guy she had apparently been seeing long before she accused me of anything. I buried myself in work. I finally got my master electrician license, started my own company, and within 5 years, I was running one of the most successful electrical contracting businesses in the state. Money started flowing. Clients came knocking. I bought a house, a real house, with a backyard, a view, and enough room for my kids, if I ever got to see them. Emma and Noah were growing up without me. Every birthday and Christmas, I sent gifts that I wasn't even sure they'd receive. Natalie blocked me on everything. The few times I tried to reach out, she threatened to call the police, claiming I was harassing her. It took 6 years before my life started feeling somewhat whole again. 6 years of loneliness, guilt, and grinding work. 6 years before the real bomb dropped. One afternoon I got served. Papers. Natalie was suing me for alimony. Apparently her relationship with the boyfriend had fallen apart. She hadn't worked a real job in years. She blew through the child support money and now wanted a slice of my success. She claimed that because she supported me during our early years, she deserved a percentage of my business and ongoing payments. I almost laughed. Almost. But mostly I felt sick. I hired the best attorney I could find. And I started digging. Every text, every photo, every social media post she had forgotten to make private, and that's when it all started unraveling, because Natalie had kept secrets. Big ones. Turns out, she hadn't just started dating that guy after leaving me. She had been sleeping with him months before she threw her false accusations at me. While we were still married, I found old messages, her bragging to friends about how she needed to get rid of me, to be free, to live the life she deserved. How accusing me of cheating would make the court sympathetic to her. How she could spin the story to look like the victim. She plotted the whole thing. It was premeditated betrayal. The court hearing was the final showdown. Natalie showed up dressed to the nines, fake tears ready to spill. She spun her tale of sacrifice, of heartbreak, of betrayal. My betrayal, of course. She begged the judge to recognize her years of unpaid emotional labor. Then, my lawyer stood up and dropped the bomb. Screenshots, photos, witness statements, timeline breakdowns showing how she had been the one cheating, how she had manipulated the courts, alienated my kids, and lied under oath. The color drained from her face. The judge was furious. Not only did she lose her claim for alimony, but the judge also ordered her to pay back over $50,000 in legal fees and damages. She couldn't even afford to pay rent after that. Her brand new boyfriend dumped her once he realized the gravy train was over. As for me, I filed to modify custody based on parental alienation and misconduct. I didn't get full custody. The courts move slow, but I was awarded joint custody for the first time in years. When Emma and Noah came to my house for the first time, Emma was 11. Noah was 9. They were shy, reserved. They had been fed lies about me for years. But slowly, as the weeks passed, they started seeing who I really was. It's been a long road. It's still not perfect. But every Sunday dinner, every backyard soccer game, every movie night, it's worth it. Natalie still tries to play the victim sometimes, tells anyone who will listen how she was wronged. But the truth has a funny way of coming out eventually, and when it did, it left her with nothing but the ashes of the lies she built her life on. After the custody ruling, life didn't magically fix itself overnight. The first few months were tough. Emma would barely look me in the eye at first. Noah was quieter than I remembered, like he was afraid to say the wrong thing and get in trouble. I found drawings in Emma's backpack one night. Stick figures of a house split in two, with her standing in the middle, crying. It crushed me. I sat on the floor of my living room for an hour just holding that paper, feeling like the world was crumbling all over again. I realized it wasn't just me who Natalie had hurt. It was them too. She'd turned my kids into collateral damage in a war they didn't even know they were part of. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to badmouth Natalie to them. As much as I wanted to scream the truth, I didn't. I wanted them to rebuild their own opinions, in their own time. Instead, I just showed up. Every pickup, every recital, every late-night call, when Emma had a bad dream. Every weekend, when Noah wanted to build a ridiculous treehouse that I knew would never pass inspection. Brick by brick, we rebuilt what was torn down. Meanwhile, Natalie was unraveling. After the court case, she tried to spin the story online, a barrage of Facebook posts about how I was a narcissist and how I manipulated the courts, but people weren't buying it anymore. Too many receipts had been exposed. The sympathy she thrived on dried up fast. I heard from mutual friends that she had to move back in with her parents. The boyfriend she sacrificed our marriage for, he blocked her on everything. The friends who once testified against me, gone. Turns out, when your world is built on lies, it doesn't take much for it to come crashing down. About a year later, Emma asked me if we could go to dinner, just the two of us. She was 12 by then, too smart for her own good. Over fries and milkshakes, she said quietly. Dad, was Mom lying back then? I paused, choosing my words carefully. I think Mom was confused, and she made some bad choices, I said, but I never stopped loving you, never for a second. She looked at me for a long moment, like she was measuring the weight of my words. Then she nodded and just said, I know. I went home that night and cried harder than I had in years. It was like a dam finally broke inside me. The anger, the grief, the overwhelming relief that maybe, just maybe, the years she stole from me could still be salvaged. Today, life isn't perfect, but it's good. I still run my business. It's bigger now than I ever dreamed it would be. I coach Noah's soccer team. I helped Emma build a wooden bookshelf for her room. She's turned into a bookworm like her old man. I even started dating again cautiously. There's someone special, someone who actually knows what honesty and partnership look like. As for Natalie, last I heard, she was trying to start over somewhere else. And honestly, I wish her peace. Not for her sake, but for the sake of my kids, who still love her in their own way. I don't hate her anymore. Hating her was like carrying a burning coal, hoping she'd feel the heat. It only scorched me. In the end, the best revenge wasn't destroying her. It wasn't winning court battles. It wasn't even clearing my name. It was living well, building a life I was proud of, becoming the man my kids could look up to again. Because while she spent years plotting my downfall, I spent years building something she could never touch, a real, honest life. And that was the real victory.